Hello everyone, I am joining you today from my classroom because of the difficulties we had this morning in our Zoom meeting. I came to the school thinking it would it was a Wi-Fi issue, but it wasn't. So anyways, today's lesson was on evaluating expressions. And so I'm just going to briefly go over that part of our time in class today. I'm going to share my document camera with you, because we did take some notes. So if you have your notebook ready and out, we're ready to go. Otherwise, you can pause this video and catch up. Okay, so our notes today are on evaluating expressions. And don't forget that if I'm going too fast for you to keep up, then just pause the video. So last week we looked at simplifying expressions, which meant combining numbers if we could, getting rid of parentheses using the distributive property, and combining like terms so that our expression was more condensed. And today we're going to be evaluating expressions, which means finding the numerical value of the expression. Finding the numerical value of the expression. So in a numerical expression, if we have an expression that's already just made up of numbers, then all we have to do is follow the order of operations. Okay, so let's take an example that's just a numerical expression. So this is a 7 here. Okay, so pause the video and see if you remember how to follow the order of operations to simplify this or to evaluate this. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. We're going to do the parentheses first. So that's 2. I'm going to bring down times 3, because that's what that means. Divided by 7 minus 3 is 4. Okay, so then I'm going to do 3 times 2 is 6, divided by 4 is 1.5, or you could write it as a fraction 3/2. So that's a numerical expression. If you're asked to evaluate a numerical expression, and you did have some problems like this in last week's homework assignment, then you just figure out what it is as a number by following the order of operations. In an algebraic expression, you need to know the value or values of the variables. So I'm going to write values with an S in parentheses in case you have more than one variable. And the same here, variables. It could be just one variable, it could be more than one. Once you have the values of the variables, then the first step is to substitute the value in place of the variable. That's the first step. In place of the variable, you're going to put the number that it is equal to, and then you're going to follow the order of operations. So when you do step 1, that makes it a numerical expression, and so then you're back up here where all you have to do is follow the order of operations. So let's take some examples. Example 1, 3x plus 4y. Okay, so this is an algebraic expression because it has variables in it. In order to evaluate this, I have to tell you what x and y equal. So either at the top of your paper or to the side of the expression, you'll see something like this. I'm telling you that x is -1 and y is 5. So we're going to evaluate this expression for x equals -1 and y equals 5. All right, so the first step is to substitute -1 in place of x and 5 in place of y. Now you can put parentheses here in place of your variables. That's a good thing to do. If you have a number and then a parentheses, another number, that means you're multiplying those numbers together. You can also use the dot for multiplication. I use them interchangeably. I really like to use parentheses when I have a negative number because then I don't get confused with the signs, okay? So here I'm going to follow the order of operations. That's the next step. And so I have 3 times -1 is -3. 4 times 5 is 20, and it's going to be a positive 20. So I write plus. All right, so then what is -3 plus 20? Okay, you should get 17. That's what that one equals. Okay, so let's try another example. This one's harder. Okay, so this one's more complicated for sure. We have more than one y variable here. And so there's actually 2 different ways you can approach this. You can approach it just the way I've said, substitute the values. We're going to use these same values just going down. Substitute the value in for x, and then wherever you see y, we've got a y here and a y here, we have to put 5. So let's do that way. We're going to call this method A here. So I'm going to put -1 here, 3 times 5 there, and notice I'm using the dot for multiplication, and the reason why is because I've got all these other parentheses there and it makes it a little bit easier to look at. Okay, so I want to follow the order of operations now. Inside this parentheses, I'm going to multiply that. And I'm just going to bring this down here, keep that like that, and I'm going to multiply those together and I get -20. Okay, so then I want to put these together because that still needs to be done. -1 plus 15 is 14. Okay, so we have this. Oops, there goes the bell. Okay, then we're going to multiply -2 times 14 is -28 and minus 20. So the last step is to put those 2 together. When they're both negative, you're going to add the numbers and you get -48. So that's one way. That's fine. There is not an easier way. Sometimes it's an easier way. It just depends on the expression. In this example, I can first simplify the expression and then do the substituting and order of operations. I'm going to show you what that looks like. So I'm just going to copy this expression over here. Okay. And I'm going to multiply this across to get rid of the parentheses. That's to simplify that expression. So -2 times x is -2x. And -2 times 3y, that would be -6y. So that's simplifying with getting the parentheses out of the way. Now I want to combine these like terms here, and I get -2x minus 10x, or excuse me, 10y. Okay, at this point now, I only need to make the one substitution for x and the one substitution for y. So let's do that. Oops, I wrote that down wrong. Let me fix my typo. And then I'm going to do the math. So -2 times -1 is +2. 10 times 5 is -50. And so I get -48. Now this was about the same number of steps, so it didn't really save us any trouble. But sometimes simplifying the expression first is easier. For example, if you just had like 3y plus 2y, it'd be much easier to combine that to 5y and then do the substitution. Okay, we did one more example in class, and I will do that here on the back side. Example 3. So on this example, I want you to write the problem down and then pause the video. This is for the same x and y that we had before. So write this problem down, and then I want you to pause the video because I want to see if you can do this all by yourself. Okay, I'm going to go through the answer, but hopefully you have paused it and worked out the math. Now this is a problem that I would not recommend simplifying first because we haven't learned how to square binomials yet. So just make the substitutions. That's a foolproof way. So we have 2 times -1, which is -2, plus 5 squared, and then I'm going to put these together here. That's -50. Okay, so I just did those little multiplication pieces. I have to still finish what's inside the parentheses. So -2 plus 5 is 3. So I get 3 squared minus 50. 9 minus 50, which is a -41. And that's your answer. Okay, so your assignment for today, I think it's homework 6 now that we're at. Homework 6. It's in your Teams folder. It's the evaluating expressions. It's a worksheet. And you only have to do the evens. Okay, you do need to show the substitutions and the math, not just the answers, because the answers, the answers are on the last page or 2 of the assignment. You can check your answers when you're done, but I want to see the math that you've worked out to get there. Okay, so that's it for today. Have a great day.